My name is Betty and Anderson is my stepdad. That night, we lay in my bed, fully clothed at first, just holding each other. I rested my head on his chest, listened to the rhythm of his heartbeat, steady and calm. Felt good. Felt wrong. And yet, I didn't pull away. Minutes passed. His hand moved from my back to my waist, then lower, slowly, asking without asking. I turned my face to his. Are we really doing this? We don't have to, he whispered, but he didn't stop. And neither did I. The kisses deepened, and that moment I couldn't control my feelings. Anderson reached out to my pant, pulled it off. Then he slided his 15-inch rod into my body without mercy. I was crying for more as he thrusts me harder without mercy. That night, I gave Anderson something I never planned to give anyone again. Not after Tony. But Anderson, he made me feel wanted again. Desired. Needed. And in my confusion, I mistook that for love. Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, do well to subscribe and hit on notifications. To all my returning subscribers, thank you for always watching my videos. The night didn't feel right. It was hot outside, but I kept shivering. The house was quiet, too quiet. Even the ticking clock in the hallway sounded like it was holding its breath. I tossed and turned in bed, but sleep wouldn't come. My heart ached. The breakup with Tony, my first real love, had ripped something out of me, and I didn't know how to fix it. I threw on my robe and padded softly to the kitchen. Maybe warm milk would help. But when I got there, Anderson was already sitting at the counter, a half-finished glass of whiskey in his hand. He looked like a statue, tired, distant, but not surprised to see me. Couldn't sleep? He asked without turning. I shook my head and reached for a glass. Bad dreams. Or maybe just bad thoughts. He gave a small nod, as if he understood both. Join me, he said, patting the seat next to him. Normally, I would have gone back to my room, but I didn't want to be alone. I was tired of crying into pillows and feeling invisible. So I sat down beside him. You ever feel like you just need someone to see you? I asked quietly. Anderson turned toward me, his eyes softer than usual. Every day. That surprised me. Anderson had always been the calm one in the house. He was the man who fixed broken sinks, grilled on weekends, and paid bills without blinking. But tonight he looked broken. Your mom's been gone a lot lately, he added after a pause. And when she's here, she's not really here, you know? I nodded, biting my lip. I know. We sat in silence for a while, sipping our drinks. The air felt thick, almost electric. I caught him looking at me once, his gaze lingering a little too long, but I told myself it was just in my head. I hate feeling like this, I whispered, surprised by my own voice. Like I'm not enough. Like no one wants me. Anderson set his glass down and reached for my hand. His touch was gentle, but it startled me. You're more than enough, Betty, he said. Tony was a fool. And if your mother can't see how special you are, that's her loss too. Something about the way he said it made my chest tighten. I looked at his hand wrapped around mine. Warm. Familiar. Wrong but comforting. And in that moment I didn't care what was right. I don't want to feel alone tonight, I said, my voice barely a whisper. You're not alone, he replied. That was when it happened. The moment that changed everything. Anderson leaned in. Not fast, not aggressive, just enough that I could feel the warmth of his breath on my cheek. I could have pulled away, but I didn't. Instead, I let my head rest on his shoulder. And when his arm slowly wrapped around me, I melted into it. Not because I wanted him, but because I needed someone. Anyone. Minutes passed. His hand moved gently through my hair. I closed my eyes, breathing him in. I told myself it was harmless. Just comfort. But deep down I knew we were crossing a line. Let's go to the couch, he whispered. It's more comfortable. I didn't speak. I just followed. And on that hot, cold, and calm night, we sat in the dark together, holding each other like broken things trying to fit into a shape that made sense. His hand moved along my arm, then my thigh. I trembled but didn't stop him. And when our lips finally touched, it was like the world paused to watch. A father figure. A stepdaughter. A house that had held secrets for too long. I didn't know it then, but in that moment we were writing the first sentence of a tragedy. It was supposed to stop that night. I told myself it was a mistake, something brought on by loneliness, by broken hearts, by the kind of pain that makes people do unthinkable things. I went to bed hoping I could forget what happened. That Anderson and I would pretend nothing ever happened. That the kiss, the touch, the closeness could be erased. But the truth was it didn't end. And the next morning proved it. I walked into the kitchen, expecting awkward silence. But instead he greeted me with a soft smile. Not guilty. Not nervous. Just calm. "Morning," he said, sliding a cup of coffee toward me like he always did. I hesitated. "Morning." He sat across from me. We didn't talk about what happened the night before. We didn't have to. The way his eyes stayed on mine, the way his fingers tapped the table in a slow rhythm, it said everything. The air between us was different now. Heavy. Charged. He waited until I stood to leave before saying quietly, "If you ever need someone to talk to, or anything, I'm here." That anything echoed in my mind all day. I tried to go on with normal things, chores, music, scrolling through my phone, but nothing felt right. I caught myself thinking about his hands, his voice, the warmth of his body beside mine. It disgusted me. But it also pulled me in. I was 24. Grown. Smart. But completely lost. And when you're lost, even a wrong path can feel like home. That night I stayed in my room. I locked my door. I tried to read, tried to journal, but my heart wouldn't stop racing. Around midnight I heard footsteps. Soft. Paused outside my door. Then a knock. I held my breath. "Betty." Anderson's voice was low. I didn't answer. I need to talk." I opened the door. He stepped in, closed it behind him. We stood there unsure until I whispered, "This is dangerous." "I know," he said. "But I can't stop thinking about you." I turned away, hugging myself. "You're my stepdad. You're married to my mother." He stepped closer. "I haven't felt close to your mom in years. She's always gone. Always cold. You," he paused like the words were hard. "You make me feel alive again." I turned to face him. "What are we doing?" He didn't answer. Instead, he reached for my hand, lifted it to his lips and kissed it gently. That's when he said the words that still haunt me. "Just stay with me tonight. No pressure. No expectations. Just don't leave me alone." I should have said no. But my heart, still bruised from Tony, still aching from years of being unnoticed, cracked open again. And I said yes. We lay in my bed, fully clothed at first, just holding each other. I rested my head on his chest, listened to the rhythm of his heartbeat, steady and calm. Felt good. Felt wrong. And yet, I didn't pull away. Minutes passed. His hand moved from my back to my waist, then lower, slowly, asking without asking. I turned my face to his. "Are we really doing this?" "We don't have to," he whispered, but he didn't stop. And neither did I. That night, I gave him something I never planned to give anyone again. Not after Tony. But Anderson, he made me feel wanted again. Desired. Needed. And in my confusion, I mistook that for love. When it was over, we didn't say a word. He held me tighter like he was afraid I'd disappear. But I was the one disappearing. Piece by piece. The next morning, I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. I avoided his eyes. He tried to talk, but I brushed him off. My hands were shaking. My stomach was in knots. I knew what we did could never be undone. And still it didn't stop. 2 days later, he knocked again. The week after that, I snuck into the living room when my mom was away on another business trip. It wasn't love. It was something else. Something hollow. But when he called it a favor, that's when everything inside me broke. It was a Tuesday night. My mother had left earlier that morning for Chicago. I was watching TV on the couch when Anderson sat beside me, closer than usual. He didn't say anything at first. Just placed his hand on my knee. I didn't stop him. "I need you again," he whispered. "Like last time." I froze. He leaned in and said, "Just this once. A favor. Please." A favor. Like I was something to borrow. I should have screamed. Should have pushed him away. But instead I nodded. That night, I let him take what he wanted. And afterward, I cried silently in the bathroom, curled up on the floor. Not because I was hurt, but because I realized I was losing myself. And it was all going to end. I could feel it coming. The tension. The secrets. The lies. And I was right. Because the next night, my mother came home early. And nothing could have prepared us for what she would find. If I could rewind time, I'd stop at the front door. I'd stop my mother from turning the key. I'd beg fate to take a different path, even if it meant exposing everything sooner. Because the way it ended, the way the truth exploded in front of her eyes, left a wound none of us would ever heal from. That Wednesday night started like any other. Anderson had poured himself a glass of red wine. I had taken a shower and was walking around the house in my oversized t-shirt and soft socks, thinking Mom wouldn't be home until Friday. But she came back early. No calls. No warning. Just the sound of keys turning in the door at exactly 8:43 p.m. I remember because I froze. Anderson had his hand on the small of my back. We were in the kitchen. Close, too close. He was whispering something I don't even remember now. Something about how he missed me the night before. I was smiling faintly, caught in a moment of forbidden warmth. Then, click. The front door creaked open. Footsteps. Heels. Sharp, confident. My mother's walk was always easy to recognize. And then her voice, cheerful and tired, echoed from the hallway. "I'm home early. Flights were delayed, but I found a direct." She stopped. I heard the sound of her suitcase handle dropping to the floor. Anderson and I turned to face her like guilty children. But the damage had already been done. There we were. In the kitchen, wrapped in tension, faces too close, bodies still betraying what had just happened hours before. I wasn't wearing a bra. His shirt was wrinkled. Our eyes gave everything away. She didn't speak. For a long moment she just stared at us. Her lips trembled, but her eyes didn't blink. I will never forget that look. It wasn't rage. It wasn't even heartbreak. It was something worse. It was disbelief. As if the air had been sucked out of her lungs. As if everything she ever knew, every certainty she carried, had been shattered in a single moment. "Anderson," she finally asked. Her voice cracked. He stepped forward, stammering. "Zena, it's not what it looks like." She raised her hand, silencing him. "No," she said. "Don't insult me." Then she looked at me. Her eyes turned into something I'd never seen before, pure devastation. "You," she whispered. "My daughter." I tried to speak, but my throat closed. "Mom, I didn't mean." "You didn't mean what?" she snapped. Her voice rose. "You didn't mean to sleep with my husband? Didn't mean to let him touch you? Didn't mean to betray me under my own roof?" I started crying. It wasn't like that. I was broken. I was hurting. She took a step back as if my words physically hit her. "You were hurting? Betty, I carried you for 9 months. I raised you on my own for years before Anderson came along. I gave you everything I had." She turned to Anderson. "And you. You were supposed to be the man who protected us." Anderson bowed his head. "I never meant for this to happen." "But it did," she said coldly. "And you kept doing it." The silence that followed was louder than any scream. She walked past us. Quiet. Calm. Like a woman walking through the ruins of her own life. She went upstairs without another word. Anderson tried to go after her, but I stopped him. "Let her go." He sank into a chair, rubbing his face. "What have we done?" But it was too late to ask that. The curtain had fallen. The truth had spilled out, raw and merciless. And nothing would ever be the same again. Later that night, I sat on the edge of my bed, staring at the floor. My phone buzzed over and over. Calls from friends, texts from Tony, who must have heard I'd been crying for days. But I ignored it all. I had broken something sacred. My mother didn't speak to me for days. Not even a glance. It was like I didn't exist. And Anderson, he slept in the guest room. Every now and then I'd hear the creak of the floorboards, his quiet footsteps at night. But he never came to my room again. The favor he asked for had cost us everything. It wasn't passion anymore. It was ruin. One morning, I found a note on the kitchen counter. Mom had written just one line. I need time. Alone. She was gone before I could see her go. I didn't blame her. I just wished she knew. I wasn't trying to steal her husband. I wasn't trying to destroy our family. But I did. I was a grown woman. I made choices. I crossed lines that should never have been touched. And now all I had left was the guilt that burned through every breath I took. They say time heals all wounds. But whoever said that never lived in my shoes. Days turned into weeks after my mother left. The house became too quiet, too still. Every corner felt haunted. Not by ghosts but by memories and shame. I stopped eating properly. I stopped laughing. I stopped being Betty. Anderson tried to make things feel normal again. He would knock gently on my door and ask if I needed anything. Groceries. Money. A walk. Anything. But I couldn't look at him the same. Not after everything. Not after the silence that followed my mother's heartbreak. One morning I sat at the edge of the bed, staring at the framed photo on my dresser. It was from 3 years ago, me, Mom, and Anderson at the beach. We were smiling, genuinely happy. It hit me like a wave. That smile was gone now. That version of us gone forever. I finally found the strength to pick up my phone. My fingers trembled as I dialed her number. 1 ring. 2. 5. Voicemail. I left a message. Mom, I'm sorry. I can't take back what I did. But I need you to know it wasn't out of hate. I was lost. I was empty. And what happened, it destroyed me too. Please. I just want a chance to make things right. I ended the call and sat there sobbing, wondering if she'd ever be able to forgive me. That afternoon, I walked into the kitchen and found Anderson sitting at the table with the small cardboard box in front of him. What's that? I asked, my voice hoarse. He looked up, tired and beaten. I'm leaving. I stood frozen. He sighed. I spoke to a friend. Got a place across town. I think it's better this way. I nodded slowly. We lost her, he said. And maybe we deserve that. I sat across from him, unsure what to say. Do you still care about me? I asked, barely above a whisper. He looked at me with soft, broken eyes. I think I cared too much. But not the right way. I looked down. I thought what we had was something real. He didn't reply. Because the truth was, what we had wasn't love. It was pain wearing the mask of affection. A messy, twisted connection born from 2 people who should have never leaned on each other the way they did. I'm not angry at you, I said. But I'm not proud of myself either. He reached across the table and squeezed my hand. Take care of yourself, Betty. And give your mother space. She'll come around. If not today, maybe someday. He left before sunset. And just like that, I was alone in a house full of memories. Over the following weeks, I tried to rebuild myself. I started journaling again. I picked up small freelance work online. I even joined a support group anonymously, just to talk through the guilt. And one morning months later, I got a letter in the mail. It was from Mom. Dear Betty, I've spent a lot of nights trying to forget what I saw. But I realized it's not about forgetting. It's about understanding. You hurt me. Deeply. But I can't throw away the years we had because of one broken moment. I need more time. But I want you to be okay. Love, Mom. I held that letter to my chest and cried like a child. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet. But it was something. A thread between us that hadn't completely snapped. Looking back now, I see it clearly. Anderson wasn't a villain, and I wasn't a victim. We were two damaged souls trying to feel something real. But we let our pain blind us. We let comfort become chaos. And we broke the one person who mattered the most. My mother. And if I ever earn her trust again, it'll be through honesty, time, and staying far away from the man I once thought I needed. Because some favors cost more than we can ever repay. And this one, it shattered my soul. Have you ever imagined yourself in this kind of situation? What did you do about it? Subscribe to this channel and hit on notifications for more interesting stories like this.